Yes, people. Saturday Night Live, 9 p.m. start for once. Match review time. But before we get into it, people, let's hit that intro. Yes, people, we are live. Like the famous Martin Tyler says, match review time. Arsenal 3, Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 1. God, I wish it was 3-1 there for that on Monday. But oh God, even I forgot the game, man. Jesus, that's the first time it's ever happened, man. I've been in YouTube a long time, but yeah, people, 3-1 win yesterday against Aston Villa. Very good performance, consistent performance, people. But before we get into people, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And as you can see, I've got another brother of mine on the screen. We are related, but you know, life stories. We'll go down the food chain. We'll find out when we're related, but we are related somehow. Trust me. But people, like I said, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. I will put this on my IGTV, and my audio listeners is coming for you soon. Don't worry about it. But JC, my bro, man, welcome back onto the channel. It has been an eternity. But I'm glad to get you back on, man. How you been, man?
Yeah, good. As I said, sort of before the show, I took a little bit of a break from doing some live shows, and yeah, I'm just really glad to be had back really, and talk Arsenal again. So yeah, no, really happy to come back on.
Yeah, of course you're gonna be asked to come back on, man. Don't worry, bro. It's always the hot seat at the spare bed, and whatever. You can come right anytime, man. Don't worry, man. Albert JTV household's always open to you, man. But
respect.
Yeah, so no, glad to get you on, man. People, come follow my guy, man, on his channel and his Twitter handle, which is displayed in the box in his screen. Don't think about it, people. Just go and do it. Let's see who's in the chat quickly before we start. Chippy boys in there. Cheers, my guy. Thank you. So yeah, man, late night Saturday night match review. I don't think I've done one of these for quite a long time, to be honest. Actually, I don't think I've ever done one, but yeah, 3-1 win yesterday, mate. I must admit, I said it quite a few times. I was very concerned about the game yesterday. Not necessarily just off the back of the two draws, but I look at our performances this season, and I know Villa came off the back of a bruising Derby Day defeat against Wolves.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that result, to be honest. But they're a good side. They're a good side, my bro. They're a good side. They got some good players there. The very big emphasis on their two fullbacks, playing three centre backs.
Yeah,
McGinn, very, very good player. Got to see him up and close personal yesterday. But yeah, just your thoughts, sort of, in terms of the team lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Tierney was injured, but do you think, first of all, was you happy with the team lineup? And secondly, to add even further to that, even I know Tierney was injured, but saw many Arsenal fans saying, you know what, Tavares needs to start. Laka needs to come in. What was your thoughts, mate?
The lineup, I was pleased with, if I'm honest with you. I did on my Twitter page. I did a predicted lineup. I did have Kieran Tierney at left back. I didn't realise that he was unavailable until pretty much 10-15 minutes before kickoff. But
Yes,
apart from that, the only player that I didn't have in the starting 11 was Saka, because I didn't think he was going to play based on what happened in the Palace game. And to be honest with you, he deserves a rest. And I said in my match report earlier on, he didn't have a good game to his standards. And the funny thing is, it was an average performance from him. But the reason we look at it as an average performance is because he's the guy that we normally look to when we need to win a game or get a goal. Yeah. So when he has, maybe a 7 out of 10 performance, people are a bit like he slips under the radar. But apart from that, I was really happy with the lineup. I had a load of people question me about not starting Odegaard and playing Lacazette in that sort of behind Aubameyang type role. But well, the evidence is there now to see why we played the way we did.
Yeah, no, well said, man. No, I mean, when I looked at the shape of I mean, I didn't know Tierney was injured. Obviously, my phone was doing a madness at the ground yesterday. I couldn't. It was taking long to do everything, man. I was like, "What's going on, man?" But so I didn't know he was injured. But like I said, even if he wasn't, I wouldn't have complained. And I don't think many Arsenal fans would have, to be honest, if they've been honest, if Tavares had started anyway, ahead of Tierney, because listen, people have heard me talk about Kieran Tierney. I love Kieran Tierney, but
Same.
In terms of what he's shown this season so far, there is definitely a plausible argument for him being taken out the team yesterday. That's my own personal opinion, but glad to see Lacazette come in personally. The way the team was kind of, the way it looked like it was set up, it was a 4-2-3-1. It wasn't. It was a 4-4-2, and going to come to you again, JC, in terms of having Aubameyang and Lacazette in the team. I don't have an issue with it. I do have an issue with it if you play a 4-2-3-1, because I don't want to see Aubameyang on the left and Lacazette up top as the main striker. I'm not saying Lacazette can't do that, but I just think the days of playing a 4-4-2 and having two guys up top, it still does happen. Not many teams play it with two up front, but you would have to play them two like that in the way they played yesterday, with Uber being the main striker. I won't say Lacazette not necessarily played as a 10, but I just think he was slightly withdrawn and was in that pocket of space, and he was pest yesterday. But no, having Lacazette and Aubameyang in the team, what is sort of your opinion, sort of in a tactical sense, if you do play both of them? Is that the way you would go for playing them, or would you revert to what it's been before, which clearly hasn't worked?
I think when you look back at the two games before the Villa game, well, the system that we were playing with the players that were selected, it just wasn't working. We played with a Smith Rowe and an Odegaard through the middle and Partey behind against Palace, and then against Brighton we had Smith Rowe out on the left and Odegaard playing that number 10, if you will, and it clearly isn't working. With Lacazette, I think he was given a bit more of a free role yesterday. So he wasn't necessarily side by side with Aubameyang. There were times where he was dropping deep, picking up the ball on the halfway line, popping off with those 1s and 2s in midfield. He was linking up play, in my opinion, better than Odegaard does in terms of transitioning from midfield into attack. And Odegaard, I love Odegaard, right? I'm not gonna slate him. I think he's going to be a big player for Arsenal in the future. But in the last 2.5 games, he has gone missing, and he's been very, very underwhelming. I just think maybe if we were playing against a team that presses a little higher up the pitch, a Leicester and a Liverpool, who we've got coming up in the next month, is Lacazette going to be the right guy for that type of system? I don't know, but then you may lose something going forward.
No, well said. Well said. I think that's the thing. You make a good point, because I was on Tom's show. Big up Tom Gunnarsall for having me on the platform. Much appreciated. And someone put in a good question, actually, talking about Arteta and depending on the opponents in regards to who we're playing. So you've kind of touched on that. I don't have a problem with that. It's a good question, actually, the time that was asked. My only issue is with Arteta. I question how flexible he actually really is. You can talk about the other side of it in terms of when I talk about in-game management, do they have license to actually take the onus upon themselves within in-game management when it's not going well? I don't think they're allowed to do that. No. I think if you're told to stay out wide, you're told to stay out wide. I.e. Pepe plays on the right. Why on earth? Listen, we'll talk about it another time. That's because he didn't play yesterday. But, that's another conundrum, because I've asked the question, but they can't answer it, and I didn't expect them to answer it. But I like I said, I think to me it was pretty obvious. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to realize that Lacazette should have come in yesterday. I thought he was excellent. He justified his selection. I said it in sort of on Tom's channel, and sort of coming back to you again in terms of the intensity and the tempo and the aggression. And I think that was set straight away with the incident with Ollie Watkins and Gabriel.
100%.
Yeah. And what I like is, I think with this Arsenal side, what I'm seeing, and I think it actually stems from two players. I think it stems from Aaron Ramsdale and it stems from Gabriel. There is an aggression there where I felt Arsenal teams in the past could get easily intimidated, easily bullied.
Yeah.
That's not happening. And I think those two players in particular set the tone. But so sort of coming to you, mate, I'm still kind of baffled in a way from Monday night where why do you think Arsenal played the way they did in terms of the lack of tempo and intensity to what you saw yesterday? Because it's completely chalk and cheese. So why one performance and then one performance like the other? What do you put that down to?
It's a good question. And I think it comes down to certain characters within the squad. Like you said a moment ago, when the players are given a set of instructions, that they follow it to an absolute T.
Yeah.
Arteta, all respect to him, but he doesn't stop moving and shouting on that sideline. So even if you did want to deviate from the plan, even if you wanted to, express yourself a little bit, I don't think you'd be allowed to. Yeah. And the one thing that I didn't understand in the Palace game is there was no Zaha, there was no Eze, there was a massive lack of pace in that front line, and we were practically defending after scoring that first goal. Madness. And a really, really first start in the first 15 minutes. We basically sat on the edge of our own 18-yard box and invited pressure and shots. If we'd have been 10, 15 yards further up the pitch, with the physicality and pace that we've got in that back line now, I don't think they would have got in behind anywhere near as much. And then, Lacazette came on and set the tone in that last 15 minutes. And I think that's transitioned into the game against Villa. When you look at the way Lacazette played in that last 15 minutes and Aubameyang didn't stop running in that game on Monday night, I think that bar was set right there. The players wanted to give the fans something to cheer about. They wanted to show everyone that they were capable of a big, big performance, because it went stale. 2 games in a row, it went massively stale. Everyone thought we were going to kick on after the Spurs game, and we just didn't. We went sideways.
No, good points, man. No, it's true. I'm going to sort of touch on, you mentioned about physicality, which I'm going to touch on, because I think Dean Smith mentioned it when he was interviewed after the game, saying that he said he was kind of surprised physically Arsenal kind of put it on him, really. As well as obviously having the quality that we do, but physically they kind of lost the battle. That's what I kind of gauged from what Dean Smith was saying. But I also want to concentrate on two of the players in particular, our two midfield boys, in regards to Thomas Partey getting off the mark. Not how I thought he would do it. And actually, and actually, JC, we scored from a set piece.
I know,
which we're absolutely useless for. I don't know what goes on in the training or the coaching of the setup where we're so ineffective in terms of set pieces. But he was actually quite a threat from set pieces, Partey, which I'm not sure if that was a case when he's at Atletico Madrid. I'm sure you might tell me, or people in the chat, but he actually was quite a threat for us from set pieces, from corners. But Thomas Partey obviously gets the first goal. But sort of concentrating on him and Sambi Lokonga. I thought Sambi Lokonga was excellent yesterday.
Brilliant.
The one small criticism with him, and very tiny criticism, but I actually would widen it out to my issue with a lot of centre midfield players, where when they pass the ball, I always ask the question, can you pass it quicker than when you passed it? And the answer to that most of the time, 8, 9 times out of 10 is yes. I just think, JC, sometimes, even when I watched the game before when he came on at halftime against Palace, he just holds on to it a fraction too long. But like I said, I see that with a lot of midfield players in modern day football. They do hold on to the ball too long. Too many touches. Stick 1 touch, 2 touch, let it go, move it quicker, make it transition more quicker, move it faster. So what was your thoughts on Sambi and in particular, and obviously Thomas Partey's performance yesterday?
I thought they were fantastic. There's been a lot of question marks over Sambi in the last few weeks. I asked a question of a few people on Twitter recently about that deep pivot of Sambi and Partey, now that Xhaka's no longer available for, quite a few more weeks yet. And most people were saying that, he doesn't offer that sort of defensively minded part of his game compared to, say, like an Ainsley Maitland-Niles or an El Neni, but he was absolutely fantastic against Villa. There's this one move that he does every time he's about to receive the ball. He seems to take a step forward, which drags a player in. And the turn that he does, he literally switches with his body language, and the transitions he makes between defense and attack is phenomenal.
He did it. I remember it. Sorry, I'm going to bring it back in. You're right, because he did it in, I think it was the second half or the first half. It was I think it was the first half. He did it. Like you said, it's like a body swerve, and he just took the Villa player completely out of the game.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to pass it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, go on, bro. Go on.
And but the one thing that we've got to take into consideration with Lokonga, I watched his interview the other day with Thringpom, and he said himself, like, he wasn't expecting to feature for Arsenal as much as he has done since signing.
Well said.
He's come from the Belgium league. He's still adapting to the pace and physicality of the league. He was shocked at, the way Burnley play football, for example. There was a few questions that he was asked about a Burnley game. But I think he's done phenomenally well considering. And to keep other players out of the squad, for me, is absolutely fantastic. Thomas Partey, on the other hand, I think we saw glimpses of the reason why we signed him. He had probably a game to forget on Monday evening. But some of the challenges he made, we're talking old school, big tackles and blocks that I saw yesterday. Sort of challenges that when you're at the stadium, they get you out your seat and you hear shouts and screams from the crowd. But absolutely great yesterday. Range of passing was brilliant. I think in the first half, there was one reverse pass he done for Saka to get him in behind the whole of the defence, which was brilliant. But as you said yourself, the goal he scored, I'm glad he got the goal. But I was expecting, a
pile driver,
absolute pingers into like the top corner or something. But it's quite funny that the ball doesn't even hit him on the head, does it? It hits him on the shoulder and goes in.
Yeah.
Of all,
it's funny, JC, because you know what? Where I was sitting, I couldn't tell who scored the goal, so I thought it was either Partey or Lokonga. And it took me about 5 minutes to work out who scored the goal until it came up on the scoreboard. I thought, but no, I'm glad he's got the goal now, so people can stop getting carried away when he's shooting from about 30 yards from goal and it goes into like Rose Ed. Or hits
I feel sorry for whoever is sitting in the crowd.
But no, Sambi, like I said, that's my only small criticism, JC. It's a very small one, but I think with him it's interesting because I said this. I know people. I don't know what it is. I'm quick to get your thoughts. Quickly deviate away, but I just want to ask you. I know people sort of go on about Guendouzi, and I was never sold on him, but I watched Sambi play, and I can see why people get excited.
Yeah,
I didn't see that with Gwyn. I generally don't see it with Guendouzi. So I find it fascinating when Arsenal fans are very hook, line, and sinker. Okay, you've got to give him a chance, bring him back. I'm like, no, I don't want to see any Guendouzi in an Arsenal shirt again.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion. I don't. I mean, you can't work on that many managers. But anyway, let's not digress away from that. But yeah, with Sambi, I can see why people would get excited about him, as opposed to who we still have at the club, should I say?
Yeah, no, I'm of the same opinion. He's a big player. He's going to be a really, really big player, in my opinion.
No, well said, man. So yeah, I said it yesterday. I did my fan cam for the Judges TV. Big up to the boys there, Potsy and Judges, man. But the pivotal moment for me, right, in the match, for me was obvious. It was the VAR decision.
Yes.
Because, yes, you go in at halftime, 1-0 up. You're happy, but you think, you know what? Because there's not many games, JC, where Arsenal, get a couple of goals up before halftime. We just not been that team. We haven't.
No.
I mean, we barely score, so that's why we haven't been that team, to be honest. But I thought the VAR decision was pivotal at the time it happened. I don't know how you felt. I don't know how. Yeah, it's interesting to know how you saw it on television, because being at the ground, I couldn't see whether that was a penalty or not. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't see it. But then obviously we went to VAR and it got given. So yeah, what was your thoughts on the VAR decision, and what do you agree in the sense of how pivotal it was? Because going in at 1-0 and going in at 2-0, it's a different ball game.
I agree completely. Yeah, don't get me wrong. If we would have gone in at the break 1-0, any Arsenal fan would have been happy, to go in 1-0 at the break. But I think when you look at how well we played in that first 45 minutes, you have to take yourself back to the North London derby. to have a game that similar. If we can replicate that 45 minutes for the rest of the season, we're going to do very, very well.
Yeah.
My point being is, I was worried before we had the VAR decision. Was it going to be another one of those games where we didn't capitalize on the amount of chances that we created and the amount of pressure that we created in that first 45 minutes, and it was going to come back to bite us in the second half? However, Arsenal, for once, got a VAR decision. One that most probably weren't expecting. The longer it went on, I didn't think it was going to happen. Even after the halftime whistle was blown, I didn't think it was going to happen. I think it's a tough one because when you look at the defender target, he doesn't know that Lacazette's going to stick his foot in. He's just gone to clear the ball, and Lacazette's been really, really intelligent and smart and got himself between player and the ball, and he's gone down. So by the laws of the game, it's a penalty. I don't know if you've seen this, but apparently there's a big argument at the moment as to whether or not Aubameyang was allowed to shoot the rebound because of the...
It's a strange one, yeah. It is a strange one.
I don't know if you've seen this. It's an awkward one. I've seen some people saying that the 4 or the 2 or 3 minutes that were added on didn't count until the penalty was taken, and others are saying it shouldn't have counted altogether. But to answer your question, if 2-0 was a huge changing point in the game.
Yeah, massive.
Absolutely huge.
Massive. No, it's true. Now, it's a good point you raised because, I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head what the injury time situation was in the first half of what they actually gave. You might probably tell me better than I would know because at the time, because I didn't gauge how much it was. But it was weird because obviously, it's, to be fair, it's a good save by Martinez. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
But obviously stuck with a rebound, but then obviously they had time to restart for literally 5 seconds, and then he blew the whistle. So yeah. I mean, I'm not one to get on referees. I very rarely talk about referees, if I'm honest, on my content. But I thought Craig Paulson was. I thought he was very poor yesterday. I mean, when he should have given a free kick, he didn't give it, and when it wasn't a free kick, he gave it. He did the complete opposite of what he should have done. I mean, even the disallowed goal, I think people still don't know what that was disallowed for.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's disallowed for.
It's beyond me. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, and he didn't. Why would you check the screen for the? I know you obviously you got the earpiece and to go and check it, but why would you not go and check the VAR for that disallowed goal? Because it wasn't clear to me what the infringement was actually for to disallow the goal in the first place.
I'm exactly the same. It wasn't until, and obviously I had the luxury of watching it in my living room, so there were close-up replays. And when you watched it, they played it 2 or 3 times, and he just fell over. It literally looked like there was a small coming together, and this is a contact sport. Small coming together, and he's given the benefit of the doubt to the defending player. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I 100% agree with you. He had a terrible game, but at the end of the day, we got a VAR decision for the first time since VAR has been introduced. So,
no, fair play. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah, to going 2-0 up, and I think. So I'm going to come back to you. I'll give you a bit of context in terms of. I know people have spoken a lot about. Obviously, before we played Villa, the best game we played this season was against Tottenham. Some people will argue it's 45 minutes. Some people will argue it's 35 minutes. Some people will argue it's 65 minutes. Whatever the arguments galore, whatever. But
yeah,
I do think yesterday was our best performance of the season because it was more of a complete performance. I would have said the performance lasted probably about 80 minutes because when you're ahead in a game, I would say 1-0 is a tricky scoreline, but when you're ahead 2-0, 3-0, the emphasis really, I'm not saying you should sit back, but the emphasis is not on you to chase the game. Obviously, Villa come out in the second half, brought on, I think, Leon Bailey for Tuanzebe? I think they brought on, so they made the switch and change. They came out a bit more positive. But also, I don't want to forget this guy, when I get to talk about him, actually. How good was he? Before I bring you in, JC, when you look at his performance against Palace, and I take into account he's a young man, I don't expect him and the likes of Saka and Sambi to go and rip it up every single week. You made the great point about Sambi talking about he didn't expect to play as many games as he's played. So, but yes, he's a young man, and Arteta did say in the press conference in terms of you know, people talk about this Arsenal side being the youngest in the Premier League, but he said there's only so long we can sort of use that excuse for. But because you need to win games, the football. But this guy yesterday was, like I said, to me, the performance against Palace and the performance yesterday was completely chalk and cheese.
100%.
He was exceptional yesterday. How good was he yesterday, bro?
Well, I did my match report over on my channel, and I highlighted him as not only my man of the match, but the key player. And we've got to remember, this isn't an ML Smith Rowe performance where, you know, he is head and shoulders above everyone else. It was a fantastic team performance yesterday. You know, you could sit here now and go through each one of those 11 players and speak positively about every single one of them. And then for him to come out on top of all of that positivity is fantastic for a kid his age. And to think that he's only had a proper full season in the Premier League, a full 12 months, if you will, coming up next month. We've got to remember it was before Christmas last year that he actually came in properly for Arsenal against Chelsea. And for him to be coming in and putting in performances like that are unbelievable. 4 key passes he made yesterday, including his assist and his goal. He's going to be absolutely huge. And Gareth Southgate was watching yesterday in the stadium, so I can't imagine he's too far off of maybe, dare I say it, a call up to the squad. Maybe not a starter, but maybe a squad player to start with. But he's just got. I think what he's got to do now is he does have to start adding more goals to his game.
100%.
He does have to start adding those crucial passes to the game as well, and just a little bit more consistency. I think Saka, when you compare the two, they're always being compared with each other because they've pretty much come through at the same time. But I think Saka's just slightly ahead of him in that regard. But he's definitely an exciting player.
Yeah, he was exceptional yesterday. You're right. With him and Saka, they do need to contribute more goals. I mean, even yesterday in the first half, when Tavares put the ball across to Saka, he should have scored that.
Oh yeah, he should have done.
He should definitely have scored that. I mean, when I saw the actual, being sat where I sat, I thought he should have scored anyway. When I saw the replay on TV, I said, "Nah, this guy's taking liberties. He needs to put that in the back of the net, man. Come on, Saka, man. Listen, I'm Nigerian. I can't keep representing you all the time, bro. You need to start putting the ball in the back of the net, bro. Eat some more jollof rice, chicken, whatever. Just put the ball in the back of the net, bro. It was a bad miss. I thought it was a bad miss.
100%.
I'm not gonna not criticize him because he's one of the brothers. But come on, man, you need to finish that. You do need to finish that. But even
it's the sort of opportunity that had it have finished a draw or had we have lost the game, you know, people would be talking about it a lot more.
100%.
And because of how much of a big player he has been at Arsenal in the last year or so, I think there's a little bit more emphasis on it, or a bit more pressure on his shoulders.
Yeah, it's true. And someone mentioned it earlier in regards to Saka quickly before I sort of move on to the next thing. I think Normski put in the chat, he said, a lot of people said it, even when I was at the ground yesterday, he said, listen, as much as I love, people saying it behind me, said, as much as I love Saka, bring him off. Just bring him, just take him off. Just bring on Martinelli for 20 minutes. Just, the guy looks knackered. And he did look knackered, to be honest with you.
He did.
So
I was surprised he finished 90 minutes, if I'm honest with you.
See, it's a strange one. Like I said, JC, I was shocked when I heard he was starting yesterday. I was very surprised, if I'm being honest. But yeah, he does need to. It's a strange one because you kind of said it earlier, and I think many Arsenal fans are saying it, where you do want to be careful with him in terms of his development and him not playing every single week.
Yeah.
But he's that good along with ESR. If you take those two guys out of the team, you know, we've got a lot more problems than we actually want, man. But it's a tricky one. Yeah, like I said, the Martinelli conversation is a conversation that's going to be ongoing for the entire season, mate. I don't understand why I brought him on yesterday, if I'm being honest, for a minute. I mean, what's the point? You know, you're not.
Well, I had him in my predicted lineup ahead of Saka. I thought Saka's definitely not going to play. He got an absolute kicking against Palace, and he's knackered. He's absolutely knackered. I thought, you know, even Pepe. I know that he's not everyone's cup of tea, but
he's not. Go on, mate.
You know, I thought, you know, if he needs a rest that badly and he's hurt, you know, get Pepe on. But yeah, it was a big surprise to me, mate.
But no, even like they're talking about the ESR goal. If in terms of, I mean, if I remember it off the top of my head, I think it was like a misplaced pass, but ESR sort of blocked it. Sambi's giving it to Tavares. Tavares a very good ball into Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Aubameyang got that first time flick. The thing is, we need to see that type of attacking football more often, and that's the problem. We're starved of it because it doesn't happen every week. And like you said earlier, and it's true, Arteta he's obviously very, very. No, I don't know if discipline's the right word. He's very obviously he has his tactics and he's set up the way he wants to set up the team and what they're probably not allowed to do because it comes across in the way I watch Arsenal play. I'll be honest with you, it's very cautious.
Very cautious.
It shouldn't be, like I said, no disrespect to Crystal Palace, but it shouldn't be getting outplayed in terms of possession by Crystal Palace at home. And people will say, yeah, you know what, we ain't beaten them in 4 years now at home, which is even worse in itself. I mean,
mad.
That was, I think, Arsenal's first goals under Arteta against Villa.
He hadn't beaten them until yesterday.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, even in the first half, it shocked me, JC, in the sense of when I saw the stat come up on the scoreboard that we had 15 shots. And Villa had none.
None, not one shot in the first 45 minutes.
Yeah. Completely dominant. Ollie Watkins was kept quiet. But yeah, man, it's brilliant. Like I said, we deserved it. Like I said, I thought best performance of the season. What were you? 31 minutes in. We're doing good, JC. We're doing good, brother. We're doing good. There's two guys I want to talk about in particular because I think one of them particularly embodied in terms of the physicality and the aggression, set the tone with Watkins, and he got the crowd going, Gabriel, in the opening minutes. Trust me, everyone piled in. But I'm going to talk about these two guys, and I'm going to talk about Gabriel first and Ben White second, because I think Ben White's he's a topic of conversation. He's a topic of conversation. So it'd be interesting. But yeah, these two guys, I said it on a little I did a little sort of video when I was coming home yesterday from the grad. And I said it at the time on my fan cam. I actually love these two.
Oh, they're brilliant.
I did probably the only two guys in my entire life I'll probably fall in love with. But because you know what it is, JC, right? And you know this, all the Arsenal fans in the chat watching this live stream, and for whatever age you are supporting Arsenal, well, let's just say Arsenal in the last 10, 15 years, for example, defensively, we've been neglected for so long.
Yeah, that's putting it politely.
Yeah, we have. And with these two, as well as, don't get me wrong, we'll talk about man of the match later in the stream. ESR is fantastic. Tavares came in and done brilliantly. Sambi and Party bossed it. Lacazette was a threat, and it was a constant menace and a pest. Some of the defensive blocks these two guys put in yesterday was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
Like I said, Tony Adams would have been sitting in his armchair, smoking his pipe, sitting there with his slippers. He would have been smiling like a Cheshire cat. The defending, that's the type of defending I've been crying out to see for years with these two centre-backs in particular. The whole defensive unit, obviously, we'll talk about a bit more. But yeah, bruv, your thoughts on Gabriel first before we sort of bring in Ben White. What are your thoughts, bro?
For me, Gabriel he's slowly becoming a leader. And I think that's the most important thing. The guy, in a nice way, every time the camera pans to him, he doesn't shut up. And that's a good thing. He's constantly talking to his back four. He's constantly talking to the midfield in front of him. You've got Aaron Ramsdale behind him in his ear, screaming at him as well. And in the past, I just haven't felt like there's that cohesion at the back and that teamwork in that back four, back five, if you include Ramsdale. But, you know, he's had, 12 months or so to sort of settle into this Arsenal team and really kind of sort of make that back four his own. The other thing that we've got to remember is, I know we got sort of COVID halfway through last season, and he wasn't necessarily the same player after that.
Before I bring you back in, sorry, and a lot of Arsenal fans forget that.
Yeah, a lot of fans do forget that.
They do forget that.
When was the last time? I can't remember anyway. I could be forgetting, but when was the last time you saw a centre-back win 3 Player of the Month awards at Arsenal in a row.
Yeah.
He'd done that after signing for the club last year.
Yeah.
And now he's got a capable centre-back alongside him in Ben White. Ben White he's got pace, he's got range of passing, he's not afraid to make a tackle. Some of the runs he made yesterday,
That
where
was
he
a
picked
brilliant
up the
run in the
ball
first
on
half.
the edge of his own 18-yard box, and then he ended up on the edge of their 18-yard box, driving through midfield. So for me, if we can keep these two boys fit, and they're both in their early 20s as well, there's potentially, I don't want to speak too soon, but a 10-year partnership there. They're unbelievable. They're absolutely unbelievable. Carrying 6 and 4 as well. So, they've got a bit of history behind the numbers.
Yeah, 100%. No, well said, man. And to sort of bring you back in, sort of when I sort of mentioned about Ben White. Ben White's an interesting one, man. If I go from my point of view and not sort of taking into account any social media influence, I've seen Ben White play. He had a good time at Leeds. They speak about him very highly. I've been impressed with what I saw at Brighton. And it's a strange one, JC, because I don't know what this guy's done. Maybe someone went college with him or primary school with him and he, was more popular, or maybe he dated somebody's missus 10 years ago. I don't know what I almost feel like with the fan base sections, not large sections, but what have you seen so far? And I'm taking into account before he came to Arsenal.
Yeah.
A very decent preseason Ben White had from what I could see. And what you've seen so far, what have you seen that you're so concerned?
Concerned?
Yeah, I would get. I still get that impression from some head sections of the Arsenal fan. I'm not. Listen, before I bring you in, JC, right? I'm not saying there's going to be bumps in the road with the team as we speak now.
Oh yeah, of course.
Forget the fact they're young. This season, you're not going to get many teams stringing together 4 or 5 wins in a row. You're just not. I don't think you will, unless you're Man City probably or Liverpool. But
exactly.
What I seen in Ben White, like I said, one thing that's been neglected with this squad of players, right, over a number of years is the defense. I'm not really I'm more of an attacker. I like to see attacking play, and I played as a striker, so my kind of focus more so in terms of football has always been the strikers and how great they are in movement. But one thing for me that was bleeding obvious to me was, you know what, we need to start from a base of having a settled back 5. We need some continuity. Tomiyasu, Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel, Aaron Ramsdale, as I like to call him. We have a cornerstone. Like I said, you know what, JC, even forget whatever happens this season, as long as these guys get to play together for the rest of the season, going into next season, then you will have a better nucleus of a back 5, right? They've shown snippets of it so far. I love the aggression and the partnership developing between these two. You make a good point, and I said it about the Tottenham game. When you cut to the sort of, the ball might have gone out of play, or you cut to the screen and you see the players interact, and you see Ramsdale riling them up, and you see the dialogue between Gabriel and him and Ben White and the fist pumping. Like I said yesterday, some of the blocks Ben White and Gabriel put in yesterday were first class.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, it's all coming to you, mate. With the Ben White thing, where do you stand with him in terms of what you've seen of him before he came to Arsenal? Why, and what you think, why people might be still hesitant about it?
The only hesitation maybe that some fans have is that he's not one of these fancy foreign players that's got 4 or 5 years experience behind him at a top club in a top league, and the fact that you couple that with a £50 million price tag, which Arsenal don't often pay out on players. There's only a handful of times, your Aubameyangs, your Pepes, your Lacazettes have only ever gone for more than £50 million. I think that's where the hesitation comes from. We've got to remember this guy learnt his trade in the lower leagues at the likes of Newport. an education under Bielsa, which is no joke, and then a season under Graham Potter at Brighton, who's played some fantastic football the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a very, very good education behind him. And the fact that he's come in to a back five, and only 2 of those 5 were at Arsenal last year, and to have kept as many clean sheets and performances in a space of 6 or 7 games already is unbelievable. That should be proof enough to people that he could potentially be, you know, the real deal. And we've also got to understand he's only 23, 22, 23, something like that.
That's right, 23,
The guy hasn't even hit his peak yet, and people are already writing him off.
It's crazy, mate. I don't know what people expect. He's not going to turn up every week and play like Matthias Sammer or Beckenbauer or Paolo Maldini. Like, just relax, Arsenal fans, man. Seriously, man. Like, what does this guy have to do? Like, you're talking about consistency. When JC, we're 9 games into the season, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 9th game.
Is he supposed to be the finished article? Like, I don't understand. What is this? Listen, I can tell you now for free, he will make more mistakes.
100%.
You know, like, people need to, like I said, one thing I've always, many Arsenal fans, we have a settled back five. Ryan RJ's mentioned it in the chat about Saliba to come back hopefully as well, more competition. So that's one thing I want to see Arsenal build on. So people just stick with it. Like, they're going to have games where we're going to lose football matches. We're going to have poor performances. Hopefully not too many more. But in regards to defense that I'm concentrating on, just stick with it. Like, don't be going down the route of, you know, penalizing the kid because he's English. I mean, that is part of the reason. I'm sorry, it is. And you mentioned the fact about Brighton. That is another reason. Snobbery. Because I said it before.
Snobbery. Bro, it is absolute snobbery. And
I said it before. If Ben White, it wasn't a secret. Ben White was a touted guy, right? Clubs were interested in him. Liverpool were mentioned at some point last season as well.
Yeah, they were.
So if he'd have gone to another club, if he'd have gone to Liverpool, for example, just for argument's sake, and had done well, Arsenal fans would have been spitting blood, saying that we should have gone for him. Why? What were Arsenal doing? What was the recruitment team doing? Why didn't we go for him? We've actually got him, and you're still complaining.
There's no pleasing some fans. With all due respect, right? We've got Varane, a World Cup winner, a Champions League winner 3 times, however many La Ligas. He's come in at Man United to a brand new league that he's not used to, and he's not hit the heights that people were expecting him to. So going out there and spending 40, 50, 60 million pounds on a 25, 26, 27-year-old player in their prime, spending 250, 300 grand a week, doesn't necessarily automatically mean you're going to get a top player straight away. So I don't see what the issue is in signing Ben White. He's not done, apart from the game at Brentford, which was, let's be honest, his first game in an Arsenal shirt. He's nervous. He's playing in a back five that he's never played in before. So cut the kid some slack.
I hear people saying about the goal, the Palace's second goal. Listen, yes, he could. I know we had the debate on weekly surgery. Souls were saying about but he had, but Emil Smith-Rowe should have covered the other runner. But my thing was, and this wasn't, because to me that was the first time I heard about the criticism about Ben White for the second goal. If I'm being honest, I wasn't really aware that he was kind of. My only thing, as I said at the time, look, in that split second moment as a defender, for me, I didn't play as a defender, but you have to ask yourself the question at that split second: what is the immediate danger?
Yeah.
So if it has to be to cover the shot,
100%, yeah.
Because you'll get away with if Edouard passes it to the, I can't remember the other Palace guy's name. If he passes it and he scores, that's not Ben White's fault. No. You've got 2 players to deal with. But yeah, listen, I understand that. But like I said, I don't expect Ben White to put in Paolo Maldini, Franco Baresi performances every single week, because he's not going to do that. This is a difficult. The Premier League is a difficult league. Understand that, bruv. Like, it's not easy, man. Like,
no, it's not.
It baffles me with the Ben White thing. I'll be honest, man. I've spoken about it before. So listen, get behind Benjamin White, man. He said he likes to refer to called Benjamin. So
He
we'll call him
did say that,
Benjamin
didn't he?
White.
His interview, Benjamin. He loves it.
But yeah, bruv, listen, I'm loving Gabriel and Ben White. There's more to come. Like I said, even if I sort of fast forward through the entire season, get this back five playing consistently, and it in the long run, it'll be more prosperous than negative. That's what I'll say.
I agree with you.
So, but yeah, bruv, we're not going to talk for much longer. But yeah, man, 3-1 win, very important. We've got a game on Tuesday night, which I will be there for that as well. I'm not going to ask you to sort of kind of reel off a team sheet, who you think might play, but who would you expect to come in on Tuesday night against Leeds?
I'm expecting rotation.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's only been a few days between the Monday and the Friday games, and emotionally they've been very, very draining for the lads. I'd like to think that you would see, say, a Martinelli. You may even see.
We hope so, yeah.
You'd hope so, yeah. So yeah, maybe you'd see like a Martinelli, a Pepe. You'd imagine he'd get some minutes. He hasn't really featured recently too much. In midfield, you're probably going to see Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I'd expect rotation, but at the same time, I do think that in the back of Arteta's mind, I know it's not necessarily a cup that Arsenal have ever really targeted in the past, but it is a route into Europe next season.
Yeah,
I know Arsenal fans want top four, and it's not out of the question. It isn't out of the question, but
at the moment, JC, what is it? We're 14 points, 1 point behind Brighton, are in fourth in it, so we're ninth at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think in Arteta's mind, we've got to make sure there's still routes into Europe. Last season, I think, was it Southampton we went out to in the FA Cup?
Yes, and he got pummeled for
because
that.
he fielded a weakened team.
Yep.
And then we didn't get into Europe, and there was a lot of fans not happy. So yeah, I expect rotation, but I also expect a few boys, some of the first team players, if you will, to feature as well.
Yeah, 100%. Before I get your score prediction for Leicester, I want to give a shout out to Aaron Rambo Ramsdale, man. Bro, some of his distribution, I was like, is this guy? Listen, I thought it was flipping. I thought it was Aldair, the Brazilian, that was playing pass back to the back. Like, he played one pass in the first half, second half, some daisy cutter across. I think it was to Tomiyasu or Saka. I was like, oh my god, this guy, bro. So and he actually helps in terms of the defensive unit because he's more commanding of the area.
100%.
Distribution is much quicker, as well as being much better. Yeah. And that translates to the rest, to the two centre backs and the two full backs. So big up Aaron Ramsdale, man. But yeah, JC.
Mate, I completely agree with you. The problem you had with Leno is that he didn't really speak with his back four. He didn't really communicate, and he was definitely not comfortable with the ball at his feet. And as you say, the back four, they know what they're getting when the ball is at Ramsdale's feet. There isn't that hesitation.
No.
There isn't that, are we going to lose the ball?
Yeah.
But yeah, his distribution is absolutely fun. The amount of hate that guy got before he'd even pulled on an Arsenal shirt as well was absolutely mental.
Yeah. You make a good point, because I mentioned it as well to completely flip it. I said, if anybody had seen his interview on Arsenal.com when he signed for Arsenal, I never seen a player so proud to sign for a football club.
Yeah, it was brilliant to see.
It brought a smile to my face. I like to smile, believe me. So first class, man. Love him. Some of the songs that were singing yesterday were brilliant. About Martinez and Rambo Ramsdale. Rambo, yeah.
Social media was a fun place to be about Martinez yesterday.
Madness. But before I get JC's score prediction for Leicester, actually, guys, I want to say a big thank you to those of you. I know RJ's in the chat because he's part of the panel Weekly Surgery. We touched upon, well, I didn't let Souls and RJ know at the time I was going to talk about Black History Month, but it was a very, very emotional stream for myself. I didn't expect to get like that. So big up to the people in the chat at the time, because I needed that at that precise moment, because it was it means a lot, and it's it's an important thing that I've always grown up with talking about, and I've got a little platform to talk about it. And at that precise moment, it was really emotional for me. So thank you to the guys at the time that watched the live stream. Big ups to RJ and Souls, and for the amazing messages I got on my Twitter and Instagram from the people that watched it. So yeah, much love to you guys, man. So thank you for that, because it was an important thing to talk about. And big up Dominic Calvert-Lewin's dad for that amazing post. Wow, incredible. But yeah, JC, man, score prediction for Leicester. Before I come to you now, I actually went for an Arsenal to beat Leicester. And then I saw Patson Daka's little performance for Leicester in the week. I was like, whoa. And his fourth goal especially was a really good goal. But Leicester's a weird one, JC, because they've not started brilliantly this season. And like, again, they need time to bed in their players. Well, Patson Daka and Boubakary some more. But I think that they're a good side. They're a good side. Jamie Vardy's still a pest, as he is always.
Always.
But I don't know why I think we'll... You know what? I don't even have a good reason why I think we'll win. I just think we'll win. I don't know why, but I think it suits us playing away from home. I don't know what it is when we play at home, mate. I know we play well yesterday, 45 minutes against Tottenham, but yeah, I didn't forget the performance against Norwich, man. Believe me. But yeah, I think we'll beat Leicester. Score-wise, I haven't got a clue yet. I'll probably come back to you later or probably in the week. But yeah, what's your thoughts for Leicester, mate? Away.
Well, just going back to what you said earlier on, home or away, there are no easy games in the Premier League anymore. It just doesn't happen. And I think the best way to put it is I would have been a lot more afraid playing against the Leicester side of last season compared to the one that started the Premier League this season. Very indifferent in their form. They are shipping goals a little bit more often than usual as well. But I don't know if it's come down to them trying to kind of push on from what they achieved last season.
Yeah.
Or whether or not, like you said, they've got new players that they're looking to bed in. It could be a combination of both. But, Brendan Rodgers is going to have a look at the way Arsenal played yesterday. And he's going to be afraid. He is simply going to be afraid. We did beat them last season with a weaker side, shall we say. Yeah. You've got to think that the confidence has got to carry into that game against Leicester. I'm just hoping that whatever happens on Tuesday with Leeds doesn't affect it too much in terms of whether we win, lose or draw, because I think that will have a big impact on the mentality heading into the Leicester game. Yeah.
No, good shout. Vardy's got an amazing record against Arsenal. I saw it. I think it was last season. I said, wow. He's got like about, I don't know. It's a bloody good record, man.
He loves the top six or the so-called top six.
Yeah. But no, you know what? I went for 2-1 in the game yesterday. It was 3-1, but it's close. Leicester will score. I can't see them not scoring. I'm gonna go Arsenal 2-1 again. And you know, if the Arsenal win, my prediction was right in them 4 games. So Arsenal get 8 points out of 12. I just thought that was with this team, JC. I thought that's about right. It's still, I think 8 out of 12 is a decent return with this season. Like the way,
100%.
So, no, quick question from Nornsky. You can take this actually. Would you start Uber and Laka for that game? I would.
Yeah, I would. I definitely would. Mostly on the basis that you're going to have Ndidi probably looking to man mark someone out of the game. And if you've got him sitting on Aubameyang and Lacazette isn't playing, it's going to cause problems. Whereas if you've got both Lacazette and Aubameyang with their movement playing off of each other, it's going to be much more difficult for someone like Ndidi to affect the game in that way. But that's just my opinion anyway. You got Lacazette dropping deep and pulling Ndidi out of position. It's going to create gaps for someone 100%. Like Thomas Partey, Emil Smith-Rowe to dip in and out of.
Yeah, no, good shout. People, we've come to the end of the match review. It's great to get my boy back on, man. It's been a long time, JC, man. We can't leave it this long, man, because otherwise Arsenal might win some silverware.
Oh, God.
It might be that long. But people, get your virtual waves in, like I always say, man. But big shout out to Beth Mead. Hat-trick for England. Get in there. Go on, Beth, doing the business, man. Women's game's growing amazingly. Wow, like Wembley, mainstream TV. Yeah, it's growing quickly, man. It's growing. I'm
well.
actually going. Yes, I'm actually going to the women's game against Barcelona at the Emirates. So I'm going to show the ladies some support, man.
That's
why
a
not,
good
man?
game to go to. That
it is a very good game. When I heard it got switched, I was like, you know what? Let's go and make my debut at the Emirates. After women. And like
against
I said,
one of the best teams in the world as well.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a certain centre back at Arsenal that I kind of got a partial liking to, but I shan't mention no names. It's pretty obvious. People will know anyway, but it's fine. But big up to the people in the chat. Thank you for your interaction as always, man. Like I said, smash that like button, man. JC, tell the people where they can find you for your amazing content. Your in-depth analysis is fantastic. Love the setup of your channel is amazing.
Thank you.
So yeah, tell people where they can find you, man.
Yeah, sure. So I'm very active over on Twitter, as you can see on screen, at JakeClegg28. It is basically pure Arsenal. So if that's not your cup of tea, just maybe give the page a miss. But I can be a little bit biased at times. And then, yeah, as Albert said, I've got a YouTube channel. I don't do many sort of live streams, but normally do sort of match previews, match reviews, very, very in-depth analysis. So if you fancy it, go and subscribe.
People, you heard it there, man. Don't even think about it. Go and subscribe. Big up RJ, big up Norski, Anthony, Silver Fox in the chat. We have loads of people, man. I can't even keep up, man. Jesus. But people, big up. So for the original comments, I apologize, man. My eyesight is not as good as it used to be because I'm not as young as I used to be. But people, yeah, like I said, man, I'll be back tomorrow on another channel. I'm getting about, I'll be on the guns and ribbons with my boys Fergus and Trevs. I'll be on at 7 p.m. tomorrow. I'm not going to be doing no double headers. No, I need to enjoy my Sunday night. So I'll on my own channel, who knows? Fan cam for Leeds Judges TV probably Tuesday. I'll be at the game Tuesday against Leeds. So hopefully it'll be a good result, good vibe. So people, yeah, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to JC's channel. I'll put this on my Spotify and Anchor. That is me, Albert JTV, over and out. # match review. Come on, you Gunners.